From breaking ground to breaking records, sports venues are getting a serious glow-up.
Don't underestimate the power of a roof.
From Nashville's next-gen NFL stadium,
if you're going to have live music, well, then you need to have a mosh pit, right?
to Washington, D.C.'s major arena transformation,
we're completely reimagining what these spaces bring to the home teams.
A little different in here.
to entire districts rising up around the game itself.
Every owner in every city, literally around the world, wants to have this conversation.
The competition to build the best is just getting started.
It's going to be exciting, man.
On Sports Business Journal, Inside the Industry, presented by DXC Technology. We're back in the Vanda studios with another edition of Inside the Industry, your blueprint for the business behind the game. Here to help me lay the groundwork are Sports Business Journal facilities reporter Brett McCormick, Gensler's Global Director of Sports Ryan Sickman, and I couldn't build this show without him, SBJ publisher and executive editor Abe Madcore. You guys ready to have some fun? It's a hot topic.
Great topic. I mean, I've been in the business 30 years. This is one of the most dynamic times in stadium and arena development that I've ever seen. So today we're going to talk about great new stadiums across the country, massive renovations of facilities. We're going to talk about these mixed-use live, work, and play venues, all to improve the fan experience. It is a great topic that impacts every sports fan.
And let's start in Music City, where the Tennessee Titans are setting the stage for the NFL's next crown jewel.
It's really been a fun era of stadium development and renovations where every building is figuring out what is their thing. What would you do with this blank canvas if you're trying to build something special? We knew this building had to be uniquely Nashville, and Nashville has this rich character about it. And it's also an entertainment capital, and so this really needs to be an electric experience every time somebody comes to a Titans game.
So we started out with our excavation activities. That was the main focus for a few months. We hauled off almost 400,000 cubic yards of dirt to create the lower bowl. Then we really started to get into the concrete vertical structure, suspended piping, ductwork, electrical.
There's a sign in our boardroom that says it all matters. And we've really taken that approach to every element of design, starting with, for example, where we place the field wall so that on average, the seats are about 33% closer to the action than our current stadium. All the way to a standing room only ticket that we plan to price very affordably will have access to these outdoor terraces that I think will be a calling card of the stadium.
We've purposely built in a performer stage. It will be over here on the east end zone.
That stage will be there all the time. We plan to have great halftime acts and maybe even some live music throughout games. We built seats that can be crashed back, which then allows us to put the stage further back. And so if you're gonna have live music, well, then you need to have a mosh pit, right? You need to have wild fans underneath it.
This has been a great deal for Nashville and the state of Tennessee, the transition of taking a lot of surface parking lot that gets underutilized and turning it into a new community for Nashville.
There's this dream of hosting a Super Bowl on a Sunday, and later that Wednesday, there's a job fair. We want this building to be an important part of our community for generations to come.
Abe, we've seen a surge in new stadiums around the country, even around the world. What's driving that boom?
I say they are almost generational. I mean, Ryan, you've been in the business a long time. Every 30 years or so, you see a building boom. I think we're in the middle of a major building boom. You're seeing Nashville there, but we're going to see it in Washington, D.C. We're going to see it in Buffalo. We're going to see it probably in Cleveland. And I think, I hate to say it, but it also comes back to money. These buildings are incredible revenue drivers, and ownership wants revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I think revenue really drives the boat, but that revenue is based on something else, right? Based on fan experience, it's based on catering to the people and really giving them the choice of what they want and how they want to experience that game.
Ryan, I want to hear a little bit more about what you do at Gensler.
So I run our global operations for Gensler's sports division. We're one of 33 different types of projects that we do, but we're a global design firm, primarily focusing in architecture. So it's our job to help create these visions and then ultimately get them to the execution perspective from a construction standpoint.
So I want to circle back to the new building in Nashville. It started out as a remodel, and it eventually became a totally new build. What went into that?
So we actually oversaw the planning for what the rebuild would have been. And so a lot of that was revamping spaces. It was about creating new premium. It was about driving that revenue. One of the things that really drives that factor is can you put a roof on it? Can you not put a roof on
Right.
it? For the older buildings that didn't have one, right, that drives the multi-purpose factor of that building and really what the city was looking for.
Yeah, I think don't underestimate the power of a roof.
Yeah.
Because that allows a
Changes
venue
everything.
to attract more events. You're talking Super Bowls, you're talking college football playoffs, you're talking WrestleManias, you're talking Final Fours.
A lot of these new stadiums are starting to shrink in capacity. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, for sure. So in a lot of cases, they have the same square footage, and in some cases, they're getting bigger. What is different is the capacity is coming down, and so you've got more square footage per person, so more room, they're more breathable, you can get around them easier, which also leads to, for the teams, a higher yield per ticket, so i.e. more expensive tickets.
So we've talked a lot about the new buildings. Let's talk about a bigger renovation that's happening right here in DC. Capital One Arena is proof you don't need to start from scratch to make a big impact.
We're embarking on an ambitious, bold project of this transformation of Capital One Arena, and we've got 3 summers to tackle a pretty big $800 million project. We've started, as you can see over my shoulder, the first phase of work.
I don't want it to look like a rehabilitated building. I want it to look like a new building.
That's a challenge that we at Clark love because, you know, there's always problems in an old building.
We're going to spend a lot of the first year on the players area.
All of that kind of unlocks the rest of the building.
Right now I'm working in visiting NHL. We're installing some bathroom partitions, and we've come across the issue of the unknown, which is what is behind this wall. Do we have blocking behind this wall to hold in the physical partition?
You open something up and it's not what it is on the drawing, and we've had a couple of instances of that, but they've all been through this before and are quick to react and help troubleshoot all of the issues and challenges we've had to date.
So what we're doing is we're completely reimagining what these spaces bring to the home teams, right? If you're a Washington Wizards player, you know that there was a depressed practice court in the south end of the building. And what we did was we poured a slab on top of the practice court to bring it up to our level. And then we built the Wizards locker room on top of it to give them more space. A really unique feature about what we consider the Capitals compound is the fact that they have their own organic hydrotherapy tank, which is a cold tub and a hot tub, accompanied by a sauna right next to it. Each locker actually has its own ventilation system. So it really suppresses the bad odor that you get when you're an athlete and, you know, maybe you're not washing your pads enough.
I think everybody's kind of been blown away by how much we've done in a short amount of time.
So when the home teams walk into their locker rooms at the start of the season, they're going to be wowed by how much has changed in here.
Wow.
That's not bad, eh? I like it.
They feel so much bigger and they're so premium.
A little different in this.
All the finishes are very high end and they're going to enjoy this for years to come.
Best locker room I've ever been in.
I like what they did here.
It's fire. It looks great.
Why do teams choose renovating over a new building?
Yeah, it's very situational, but there's a lot of factors. I mean, in a lot of cases, these buildings are fine. Their bones are in good shape. You know, they don't need like the major overhaul that would be so expensive that you just end up building new. In other cases, their location could be great and they just need to freshen up.
This building alone in itself, right? There's a more perfect location in a city urban center for a venue to be like this. Why would we move, right? Like, let's figure out how to do this here.
I think renovating says too, like from a public perspective, like we took care of this asset and we're continuing to take care of it. And so, you know, when you invest with us or when you vote yes or whatever, you know, we are going to take care of that money that you give us. I think it's a easier story to tell.
Yeah, I went to Howard University right down the road, and I'll tell you, in the late 90s, this was not a great spot in DC. But then when this building got built, it changed. It changed in a hurry and changed for the good. So it was nice to see that the Capitals and Wizards will continue to play here long term.
No, it's one of those things when it was really important to Ted, it was really important to Mayor Bowser about how can we take what this building did originally for this neighborhood and almost resurrect it 30 years later, right? How can we reinvigorate that energy and that success of that neighborhood now as well too?
I would say the most interesting stories I write about in terms of these are renovations, because I think design thrives when it's got constraints. So the found space of these things is really cool. As you're like, what could that broom closet be?
It's a speakeasy. It's always a speakeasy.
It's always a speakeasy.
Well, great stuff, guys. We got to take a break. Up next, we're unpacking the future of fan districts
People want to be where there's energy and there's excitement.
and the tiny models that start it all.
It just is something that you don't get any other way.
We'll be right back with more Inside the Industry. Every venue begins as a big idea. At the Model Shop, owner Scott Harrington is bringing those concepts to life.
It's really an exciting time in this industry. The sports market is huge right now. Models are relevant because everybody experiences the world in 3D. It's a natural thing that anybody can walk up to a model and understand what the project is about simply by following the path and looking at different individual spaces and discovering clubs or VIP suites or anything like that. Models are only as good as the details. The palm fronds are chemically etched and attached one by one. They're a real art form. It doesn't matter what techniques you have, whether it's laser cutting or 3D printing, if the detail is not there and the clarity of the detail is not there, then it's not a good model. We have a whole library of people that we have assembled and that we've designed ourselves. These people are doing things that you can't buy anywhere else. They're talking on cell phones, they're looking at laptops, they're cheering. When you have a whole bowl full of people and they're all not just sitting there like this, it makes a big difference in what's going on. I've been doing this for almost 50 years and I can see the people's faces as soon as they see a model. It just is something that you don't get any other way.
So, Brett, you've actually been to the Model Shop. What stood out to you most?
I was like a palate cleanser when I went there. It just was a very relaxing vibe where they're building these models that are so critical to the start of these projects. And these models, even in an age of technology, are still something that just draw people in a way that's almost kind of like hard to understand.
It's just that visual acuity of being able to sort of feel what it is and experience it in a way that you can't until it becomes real.
And let's face it, they look perfect. That's why they're models. It's why people love renderings of new buildings, because you see a facility in its ideal, perfect state.
From concept to concrete, today's venues are designed to do more than host games. They're building the communities around them.
In recent years, teams have looked to expand their footprint outside of the venue and really expand the fan experience.
People want to be where there's energy and there's excitement.
Well, now it's all about mixed use.
When thinking about a mixed-use district, it's live, work, and play.
It's about retail, it's about office space, restaurants, bars, activation year-round. That's revenue.
Those are great things to have because now you're taking care of your ticket holders, you're taking care of your sponsors.
It creates an environment where people want to be. Centennial Yards is a 50-acre sports-adjacent entertainment district in the heart of downtown Atlanta. It's going to be $5 to $6 billion with a B, and our venue is literally across the street from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where the NFL Falcons play, and Atlanta United, and State Farm Arena, where the Atlanta Hawks, our NBA team, play. The owners of those teams want to make sure that when their fans come to downtown Atlanta, they're having an end-to-end great experience. If you live in downtown Atlanta now, there's not enough bars and restaurants and people doing 24/7 types of things. So we're building 2,000 apartments, 1,800 hotel rooms, up to 1.2 million square feet of office space, and 900,000 square feet of retail. Basically a city within a city. We have a couple of big events coming up. We have Super Bowl in 2028. We have World Cup in 26. We have 8 games, so that's a lot. I think it's second most in the United States. So that's people from 16 countries will be in our town for a month. Atlanta's really excited about this. Like, there's a big revitalization happening around our project right now because we know the world's going to be there next year.
How have mixed-use districts transformed the business model for sports?
Tremendously. This makes me more excited than anything in the business. I'll start with the Battery in Atlanta, which I think was a forerunner in this space. Cobb County, outside of Atlanta, the risk the Braves took in terms of building a mini city and a really imagined city. I mean, you're seeing it every day. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's every conversation we're having with every owner in every city around, literally around the world, wants to have this conversation. They want to imbue that type of energy into and around that building.
To me, I think the thing that is interesting for owners is control of your environment, which is something that most of them have never had.
We were having conversations over in England right now with some of the EPL franchises about what that mixed-use development could mean to them from a revenue perspective. Their laws relative to their financial fair play model allow them that if they can generate more revenue from their venue and from their district of property that they own, they can actually spend more on their team. So like this thing is really going to drive the economic funding for these franchises for the next generation.
It takes guts, it takes a lot of investment, and it takes time. Sometimes they don't just appear overnight, but over time, they generally see some strong success.
Abe, you know what time it is?
Oh, Money Minute? Bring it, baby.
It's time for the Money Minute.
Bring it.
Every venue needs a name, and with that comes massive naming rights deals. There are more than 500 deals in North America today, totaling over $13 billion across professional, college, and youth facilities. But which three take the top spot in total contract value? Love the groan.
Not in order, but I'm going to say that AT&T Stadium, AT&T with the Cowboys. I'm going to say SoFi in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. My third one will be Crypto.com at the venue in Los Angeles.
I think Crypto.com has got to be in there. I think SoFi has got to be in there. I'm going to go off on a limb here and say the Jacksonville Renovation.
Why do I feel like you have some insider information?
I don't.
All right.
That was a total guess.
Brett, what do you got?
Crypto.com Arena,
Okay.
SoFi Stadium, Intuit Dome.
Spoken like a man who knows.
Into it.
We revealed the biggest deals after the break. Plus, NBA legend Rick Welts is laying the foundation for a new Mavericks home.
All the success ingredients you could have for a franchise exist in Dallas.
All that and more still to come. The question was, which three stadium naming rights deals are worth the most over the life of the contract? Coming in at number 3, SoFi Stadium, home of the Los Angeles Rams and Chargers, bringing in $625 million over 20 years. You guys all got that.
We nailed that.
Yep. Number 2 is the Las Vegas Raiders Allegiant Stadium with a deal totaling $675 million over 30 years.
You missed that. Missed that.
I'm
yeah.
surprised. I figured you guys would
Budget airline. I don't know how that, like.
We're not that smart.
Okay. And the most lucrative naming rights deal to date, home to the NBA Lakers, NHL Kings, and the WNBA Sparks, the Staples Center turned Crypto.com Arena with a 20-year agreement valued at $700 million.
Not bad. We did 2 out of 3. I missed
Yeah,
Vegas,
all right.
baby. Missed Vegas. I will say everybody's going after those numbers and everybody's going to tout when they break that number. And these are huge revenue drivers for the team.
These are huge deals, right? And we restricted our answers to the US, right? I actually have a huge question about what is the deal for Spotify, right? With Camp Nou. You think about what those deals might be in an international basis. I bet it's closing in on $1 billion.
Those deals show just how much value venues carry today, and few people understand that evolution better than Rick Welts.
I spent 7 years of my life building Chase Center and moving the Warriors from Oakland to San Francisco. I was so happily retired for 3 years. But once in a while in your life, an opportunity comes around that checks every box, and this one really did for me. All the success ingredients you could have for a franchise exist in Dallas. The option to think about building another new arena was a chance, I thought, to really take my experience and really apply it to what I believe will be a hugely successful franchise. Nobody's building just a stadium anymore. We in Dallas are looking to build a sports arena, yes, but also to build an entertainment district. And then what I hope is that when people walk into that arena for the first time, they'll say, wow, they understand Dallas, they get it. The brand new arena and entertainment district could be the reason that the Mavericks can compete for championships for years to come, but also potentially transformational for a city like Dallas. And everything that we do is aimed at that. It really creates a pretty straight pathway to where we want to go.
So Abe, you've known Rick for a long time. Fill us in.
Yeah, really one of the champions of sports business. Started as a ball boy for the Seattle Supersonics when he was young, and it's been at the NBA, went to the Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, now, of course, with the Dallas Mavericks. And he has an amazing history. I mean, he was able, with ownership, to get a building built in San Francisco, which many thought was impossible.
In a neighborhood.
I mean, it's really transformed that neighborhood.
You know, I've been to a lot of these buildings, and I feel like for the basketball-only venues, inside, architecturally, they're shaped different.
Yeah, it's tailor-made, right? And so, like, look, when you're designing an arena from scratch, you start with the primary focal point. It doesn't matter if it's international soccer, it doesn't matter if it's NFL, college football, basketball, hockey. You start with what is being played here, right? We're actually in 6 of the venues right now doing some work in preparation for the World Cup. Philadelphia as an example, right? The corners are too tight for international soccer. So they're thinking about how do we take those corners out, make them retractable so they can bring them back in for Eagles games, make sure that it's what it needs to be for football, but in the world's football, make sure that it actually can accommodate it as well too.
Yeah, and the fields are actually big enough. There's no extra. And so with the World Cup, you're going to have a bajillion people around the field, and so you need the room for them too.
Ryan, what separates in 2026 a good stadium from a great stadium?
Ooh, that's a tough question. But I think it's the experiences. And we think about that a lot in our stadium designs and our venue designs. It's about choice. Is there an opportunity for me to experience this game the way I want to? And if so, I'm going to come back and I'm going to be satisfied.
Speaking of games, we got a game now. Buy, sell, hold.
I love it. You'll like this game.
Yeah.
This one, there's no fun.
All right, so let's start with number 1. Buy, sell, hold. The cost of venue advancements will make live sporting events less accessible and affordable for families.
Buy. I think this is a real thing.
I'm going to hold. And I say hold because I think it's our responsibility as designers to try to address that problem.
I'm optimistic. I'm going to be like Ryan. I'm going to do a hold. I do think price elasticity continues, but I do hope that the industry still focuses on the common fan.
Okay, buy, sell, hold. Mixed-use developments improve the safety and livability of surrounding neighborhoods.
Buy. When I've seen them done right and they really work, they are incredible, I would say, additions and enhancements to community life.
Buy. And I say buy because I see where it's going to go 10 years from now. And the enhancements of security, cameras, facial recognition, touchless experiences.
Buy. I agree with that. And also, I think activity creates safety. And so if you've got venues that have residents around them, there's going to be natural activity.
All right, last one. Buy, sell, hold. We're approaching the ceiling of what a stadium can be.
What is I don't agree. Sell.
Okay.
No, that's just going to keep changing, especially with technology. How does AI affect the stadium? It will. I don't know yet.
We're working on that. Sell. Look, the sky is the limit. We are going to push the boundaries. We are going to completely reinvent. Think about the next generation, that generation beta that was born this year. We're designing stadiums around what they will experience as a young 20-year-old 20 years from now. So absolutely sell.
And to your point, total sell. Who knows the least about a game? Those people in the venue. So think about all the technology and all the enhancements that will make the fan in the venue more informed, more knowledgeable. It's going to be exciting, man.
Absolutely. Like any good venue, we'll find out which predictions stand the test of time. See you next time on Sports Business Journal Inside the Industry, presented by DXC Technology.